In my first Quick Takes episode, we heard from Mike about his belief that you shouldn't be a dick to other people. After Mike got off the bus, a smiling, bearded man waved me over and told me that he loved what I was doing and that he had some beliefs that he'd like to talk about. We agreed to meet at a future date. Jeremiah is convinced of some things about himself that he admits sound unlikely, but he can't convince himself that they're not true in the face of what he considers strong evidence. We met over Zoom and recorded the following interview. Let me know what you think about his beliefs and about how this conversation went. My name is Nick, and this is Conversations on the Coast. You are on mute, sir.
All right, let me fix that.
There you are.
You can hear me now?
I can hear you. I can see you.
All right, how you doing?
Everything's good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Man, I feel like an asshole. I forgot your name.
Nick.
Nick. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I've been learning a lot of new.
No reason to feel like an asshole, right? We met randomly on the bus, and I'm
Cool.
really glad that you were willing to connect.
Cool. You
Yeah.
as well. Thank you.
Cool. Looks like a nice little setup there. Is that a
Library.
Oh, it's the library. Cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Nice. Looks quiet and well padded.
Yes. Yeah, and it's padded. I don't know how quiet it is. I don't know.
That's probably the point. I'll bet it's pretty good.
Might be. This door over here looks like its sound could transfer.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
Well, I think as long as you keep your voice in a normal range, it'll probably be good. And if not, a librarian will come and shush you, and that'll be entertaining in any case.
Sure.
I've been having intermittent problems with connection, so if it starts to get a little wavery, I'll turn off my video, and that should probably work. But otherwise, so far it seems to be fine.
Okay.
That should be good. Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So you were mentioning work. What do you do for work these days?
Uh, Not normal. It's not normal to who I am right now. So
Okay.
right now it's like security work for events or
Oh, nice.
uh, yeah, mostly that's what it's been lately.
Okay.
But
That makes
mostly
sense.
I'm looking to get a job as a maintenance person,
Hmm.
and uh, and then after that I'll become a general contractor, which is
Oh,
what I
nice.
was in California. So
Okay. Yeah, that could be good work if you have that skill set. Then yeah, you get bonded and then get your
it,
network of
right, yeah, it's the networking that's going to take a little time.
yeah,
And so that's why the job as a maintenance person. So it'll
yeah,
take time to do the networking and I can do it on somebody else's dime with that situation.
yeah. No,
So
that's great.
yeah.
That's great. Awesome. So yeah, let me tell you kind of a little bit about what I do. And you saw me interview someone on the bus. I think you saw me interview, I think his name was Mike, and his claim was just don't be a fucking dick, dude. Um,
Yeah. That was interesting. Yeah, don't be a dick. Hey,
that
it's
was
each their own.
that was a fun one. Yeah, I noticed that in Seattle there's a lot of people who are like be nice to people or don't be a dick or things like that. And I'm kind of declaring a moratorium on that because I've had that conversation so many times, and
Oh,
I think it's
you think
pretty
I'm gonna do
obvious.
that?
What's that?
You think I'm gonna do that?
No. I don't think you're going to do that. It sounded like you had something meaty to talk about,
No,
um,
I'm messing with you right
which is cool. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. No, but what I do is it's called street epistemology. And so epistemology is the study of knowledge. It's about how do we know what we know. And so I like to talk to
Okay.
people about something they believe in. And then I don't really talk so much about the belief, it's just kind of like talk about the justifications that you have and the reasons and
Interesting.
and then we examine to see if they're good reasons. And
Okay.
and so sometimes people find out, they believe, you can believe true things for good reasons. You can believe true things for bad reasons. You can believe false things you know,
Either
for
one.
bad reasons, but you probably can't, believe false things for good reasons. Um,
Oh, okay.
so, it's like even if you believe something that's, demonstrably true, sometimes people's reasonings for that, aren't aren't sound, and so that's why I
Interesting.
have these conversations about things like that.
Cool, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, see, you and I are like-minded in this way because
nice.
I've been a study of psychology since I was 5 years old. So
Oh, cool.
I study every person I come across.
Yeah,
So like you, I'm studying you, just like you're studying me.
nice. What are your takeaways so far?
So far,
Yeah.
oh, I just started. I don't have a takeaway.
Okay,
And most of the time I don't it takes a time a lot of times.
that's true.
So most of the time, like in my mind, I have to try to compartmentalize you in a personality profile, kind of like
Yeah.
a compartmentalization.
Okay.
But I don't have names for it because
Yeah.
I'm not majoring in psychology and I'm not having to pass a test, so my brain does not need to call it anything. But I do have labels for some things.
Nice.
So there's a few things, and then there's other ones where I see less of, but so far to me, you're like, well, right now, it's hard to tell, but
Okay.
I see a lot of me in you for some reason.
Well, interesting. Well, we both have a beard and glasses.
There's that. Yeah.
I've
Yeah, but
got
it could change here in a minute though. Once I give you my belief system, people
there you
start to
go.
freak out. So I'm kind of curious as to what your intellectual
Cool.
mind is going to think.
Awesome. I don't tend to freak out at things.
No,
But
I don't think you
hey, we'll
will, but
we'll see if we can
you'll click it off and you'll be like, "Bad shit, crazy."
batshit crazy is fine with me.
Crazy.
We're both people who talk to strangers on buses, so
Oh, okay. All right. Shoot me, man.
all right. So yeah, so tell me what tell me what you believe. And let's try to keep it like to a pretty concise statement at
Sure.
first, and then we can start to talk about the reasons. You mentioned you had a whole bunch of stuff typed up, right? So I'm hoping you're
Um,
not going to give me like paragraphs and paragraphs,
no,
but
right. No,
what's like
you
the
couldn't keep your attention that long. I know, and it would ramble on, and that's why I write a lot because the
yeah,
writing is more coherent than my speaking.
okay,
So yeah, all
nice.
I'm saying is, mostly I'm a metaphysical, spiritual person.
Okay,
The I was, yeah. This is the part that I'm just going to go ahead and throw the crazy shit out there.
sure.
I remember being born. I
Okay.
remember being in the womb.
Wow.
I actually remember something even before that.
Okay.
So I was being briefed on what it was like to be a human on Earth. And
Wow.
they were telling me about cars.
Okay.
I remember hating cars. They were telling me about how we get around. And I was like, no, this sucks. I'm not sure I want to do this. And they were like, dude, you're not going to know. You're not going to know anything. You're just
Yeah.
going to be like everyone else. They love their cars.
Yeah.
That's it. No. So then I'm in the womb.
Wow. So
And I'm,
you have memories from before birth. And
yes.
so tell me more about that. Like, do you have a sense of where you were or
Well, that's kind of like just the one memory I have that's prior is
yeah.
really just that little briefing and not even the whole briefing, just part of it.
Okay.
So, but I remember very well the womb. I remember very well being born, and I also remember most things since that point.
Okay.
I know lots of people say things like, "I've been, I don't have memories before 5 or something like that, or 4 or whatever." And it's
Yeah.
like I remember all the way.
Hmm.
I got all of it, but there's more. I'm
Okay.
also an empath. I
Okay.
feel I feel energy,
All
and
right.
like really strongly too. Like sometimes very strong, and like people's energy. So it's hard for me to be on the bus.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
it's
Okay.
hard to be in close proximity of other people. Like when people want to
Yeah.
get too close, the fields are fucking things up for me.
Okay.
So I can't. There's a lot of hardships that come out of it. Like I know when people are bullshitting me, and I could just feel their energy because it's informative. People don't really understand. It's
Yeah.
actually very informative. I can feel two things. That is your disposition in general, and also what mood you're in.
Yeah.
And then like if you're bullshitting me, I know it. If I like show up with a job application and you come to grab it, I know for a fact whether you're going to hire me or not.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
most of the time it's hell no because I'm highly overqualified. So it's a hard thing for me
Hmm.
to find because people are intimidated.
Hmm.
So it's like it's hard. The study of psychology has been interesting.
Cool.
Very.
All right. So let's pause there. So there's three claims in there that are interesting. The first is that you have memories from before you were born. The second is about being an empath. Um, and then the third is that people are intimidated by your being overqualified. I think
Oh,
I'd love to talk about that first one if that's
yeah.
okay with you.
Roll. Yeah.
So you have these memories, um, and you believe that that's a true memory from before you were born. So
Definitely. Yeah.
what's the main reason that you believe that that's a true memory?
I don't have a reason. It's there. I don't know
Okay.
what to say. I mean, it's totally there. Um, I've always had that. But the,
Yeah.
the next claim, which is the even crazier one, is
Yeah.
that I've, I've like for 30 years I've been a very strong meditator. So it's like I'm trying to teach people how to meditate, and
Yeah.
you can you can do things like gain information from, say, the Akashic records.
Hmm.
Very, very hard thing to explain to people, this paradigm, but to a
Okay.
Buddhist, it's not hard at all.
Well, if you don't mind, I want to stick
Sure.
with the memory thing. Like let's let's
Okay.
let's work on that for a while, and then all these other things would be really interesting, maybe to address another time. But I really want to dig
I
deep
do
on
think
this.
those two things were related, though. That's the reason why I put that together.
I see. So what's the relation then? Can you connect the dots for me?
The relation would be that I see myself as an indigo.
Okay.
You know what that is?
No. I mean, I
Okay.
know indigo is blue. My pants are
Oh,
denim, so there is
gotcha,
indigo.
gotcha,
That's all I know
gotcha.
about is the plant and the
So the,
dot.
the connotative indigo is
Okay.
a batch of people who were really not human, who are not from here, who've
Okay.
come here to do light work. That
Uh-huh.
is to change the energy vibration of the planet a little bit to try to help it uh, achieve something complicated, which is we don't need to get into that, do more tangents. But
Okay.
to keep from doing that, let's just say we're looking to change the energy.
Okay. So is your belief about the memory based on your belief that you're an indigo? So in other words,
Uh,
this is kind of normal stuff if you're an indigo.
yeah, it is.
Okay. Okay, so let's then thank you for that clarification and for pushing that point. Let's dive into that. So why do you believe, what's the main reason that you believe that you're an indigo?
Well, it's really hard because as a child, I didn't have that thought process,
Yeah.
but it took me years of observing other people and observing myself and realizing there's nothing in common.
Okay.
There's like very little in common when it comes
Well,
to
so for example, we've already said we both have beards, we both have glasses, we both like to talk to strangers on the bus, right?
right.
So when you say, so can you constrain for me a little bit what you mean by you have nothing in common with other people? Because clearly we have these things in common, and maybe these are superficial things.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Let's just say that I'm going with the numbers when it comes to how many interactions. And I
Mm,
certainly do understand the likelihood of meeting like-minded people,
yeah.
rather than, out in public, that is, because most of my like-minded people are going to be stowed away somewhere,
Okay.
So let's just say that it's hard to say I don't react in the normal ways.
Okay.
The like, for instance, I'm a person who respects people's space. I would never invade a space
Hmm.
from a person, but people
Okay.
are always invading my space constantly. And if I
Yeah.
try to even be real nice about it, people freak out.
Okay.
Where the conversation, like you said it right away. You're, just don't be a dick. I'm not. When I start hearing people talk like that, I just shut down. I
Yeah.
don't even engage. I'm like, that's worthless to me.
Yeah.
It's just that type of thing. Or like when someone says, "Hey, look at the babe over there. Look at that hot chick," and I go,
Yeah.
I can't and go. I can't do that. I can't go, and
So
indulge and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's weird.
So can you think of alternative explanations for you being different in the way you react to other people? So we have one is, you're an indigo, so you're a being from like outside our space and time. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that kind of,
Yeah, no, I'm learning that myself too. It's like
yeah,
there's certain things that I know, but I've met other indigos that have more memory of what they
okay,
are than myself.
yeah.
So like mine is
But
pretty limited. Mine's very
sure.
limited.
But so if we were to kind of lay out like what are the reasons that you believe that, like one of the reasons is that you react differently than other people. So you do react differently.
Well,
Are
that's
there
like the
other
basic.
things that you've considered
Well,
that
yeah,
could be the reason
that's
for that?
why I brought up meditation is because
Yeah.
I've got a very ease of access to the Akashic records. Like I've got like full access
Okay.
to to like when it comes to meditation, I try to explain to people. It's hard because I always try to give people information that is not given to by me. Like I'll say, go look at this, go look at that, go learn from outside of myself. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, if I say it, people don't believe shit.
Right.
But the fact that I've mastered my lower base emotions and that it really didn't take very much effort for me to do it,
Yeah.
right? So it's like envy, lust, vanity, materialism,
Hmm.
jealousy, uh,
Sure.
all these things were very, very easy.
Yeah. So
But
is it
so
possible that there could be a human who could master their baser instinct?
certainly,
Sure. Okay. So for me, who's kind of like looking at this from the outside, like how could I determine whether you're an indigo or you're a person who's just, especially good at those things?
it'd be hard to tell because
Mhm.
as the indigo, I was here to live the life of a human, to be a
Yeah.
human, to record and observe what it is like to actually be one, while also changing the energy.
Okay.
So, and I'm not
So
the only one, by the way. There's like thousands of us.
okay. So if we take that, you're just focusing on this one reason. If if humans are able to conquer their baser instincts and an indigo is able to conquer their instincts, why is you being able to conquer your base instincts a good reason to believe that you're an indigo?
Well, I don't use the one reason first off. I know you're kind of channeling me in that direction, the one reason, but it's no, there'd be multiple
No, no,
reasons.
of course, but we can look at multiple reasons. And
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
looking for is, not to challenge your belief, but just to kind of explore your reasoning and think,
Uh,
if this is one of your main reasons, what is your thinking about that? Like,
well,
why would
it's
that lean in
difficult.
one direction or the other?
Mostly I have to compare it to experiences growing up and how I had to raise myself.
Hmm.
And I was raised in foster care. I'm an orphan,
Hmm.
and it was interesting how it was very confusing for me.
Hmm.
First off, like growing up, being able to feel all this energy was
Yeah.
a highly confusing situation for me
Okay.
because most people's energy don't quite match what they're portraying.
Hmm. Okay.
The
Sorry. So I'd love to. Sorry, I know you have more to say there, but I'm just interested
uh,
about the feeling the energy. So
uh,
so is feeling energy from people another one of the reasons that support your belief that you're an indigo?
yeah, one of many. Yes, yes, it could be there, but it's like it didn't happen overnight. Like it didn't like I didn't like jump into this thought process overnight. This is like
Sure.
20 years before I finally started to realize
Yeah.
that.
So maybe we haven't found like the real reason that you believe. And I
Oh,
realize you're saying there's
I'm
a
open
bunch
to
of
that.
reasons.
I'm open to
Yeah.
that.
So what do you think, go back before that, like what do you think is like the core reason, the main reason that you believe that you're an indigo?
Because I had like all kinds of predictions as a
Okay.
child, and like I knew things. Like I knew about planets and things.
Uh-huh.
There,
Okay.
there were. I was born with certain knowledge that
Okay.
that
So let
that
yeah.
I haven't seen before.
Okay. So when were you first aware of this knowledge?
From the beginning. It's always been with me. I had
Okay.
to learn that humans didn't understand it. It took a long time for me to do that because humans are confusing. They'll say things like, "Oh, I love going to the concerts. I love to feel the energy." So I think they understand it, and then I talk more, and they go, "Huh?" And like if I and
Yeah.
if I go into things, they look at me like I'm crazy, but yet they said the
Yeah.
same thing, and I go,
Right.
"Huh?" So I mean, like I said, it's been a real confusing road. It's
Okay.
very confusing, and I'm not the only one. And
Yeah.
certainly there are, but the scenario being with the Indigo is that we're all about changing of the energy of the earth.
Mhm.
It's very important. The
Yeah.
collective energy of humans is very rough and harsh. It's
Yep.
by that way. It's that way by design. So
Mm.
that's a very broad and crazy story.
Yeah.
And the scenario being is that now that there's help. Okay, so some of the help comes from outside, and some of the
Mhm.
help is from within. And
Yeah.
about maybe over the spread across the planet, there's a few
Right.
million of people just like myself who
Okay.
came from outside to
Yeah.
come in and experience it, learn from it, but also to try to change the energy at the same time.
Cool.
It's very complicated. We can't.
Yeah. No, no, I know we're not going to get to a lot of it. So I'm just trying to stick with like the core belief that you're an indigo and kind of go from there. So going back to the idea of you were born with all this knowledge. Why why do you believe that you were born with this knowledge?
It's hard to. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, it just is. You're born and you are what you are, and it is what it is. And
So
there's
it's a
nothing.
basically you it's a personal experience. So it's just like you experience it. Is
Yes,
that what
it's a
I'm saying?
full
What
blown
you're
experience. Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
So would it be possible for somebody to grow up and believe that they were born with knowledge, but it's not true?
I'm sure it's possible, but it all turned out to be perfectly true.
Hmm.
Like for
Can
instance,
can
one of the best things I could probably say to help you with it is
yeah.
I remember throughout my entire youth, like between 1 and 5 years old, right? And
Hmm.
mind you, I was getting transferred around to different places. I'd ask lots of questions. I was very eager to learn how to read. I wanted
Yeah.
to know what my colors were. And
Mhm.
one of the colors that stuck in my brain that I
Yeah.
never saw in the world was the
Okay.
color of amniotic fluid. Okay.
Okay.
And I couldn't wait to learn my colors so I could learn what the color of amniotic fluid was, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the color I remembered. And when I was in the womb, everything felt so peaceful in there, so comfortable in there. And I could
Yeah.
see the light coming through. So I could
Okay.
see the amniotic fluid. I was in it. So when I learned my base colors, there was no amniotic fluid color. I was
Hmm.
like, the color I'm most eager to learn about, I have never seen since I was born. You
Yeah.
know how long it took for me to see it? I saw it again in the movie The Abyss when they had the mouse and they're going, "You can breathe this stuff.
Oh
Look at the
yeah.
mouse.
Yeah.
The mouse
Yeah.
can breathe it." That was the first time I saw that
Yeah.
color. But
Yeah.
interesting, I knew right away that mouse didn't have to breathe it because we don't breathe amniotic fluid in here. We're not using our lungs.
Right.
We are receiving everything through the placenta, and you don't take your first breath until you're born,
Yeah.
like that first one. So I knew all of that immediately, and the and so there's that story.
Okay. Is it possible to have a vivid image of a color and not have remembered that as amniotic fluid in the womb?
I'm hard pressed to say yes. I'm going to say no. It really
Okay.
isn't. No. Only if I didn't have the full memory all in
Yeah.
between. It'd be like saying, you know, why don't you remember what you did last week? And, I don't know what to say about that.
Hmm.
It's like you can remember at least the last 5 years of your life, at least,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know what to say outside of that.
Okay.
I'm going to say no.
Okay, so it's not possible to have a memory that is not basically that's not accurate.
I'm not going to say that it's not possible in terms of human uh,
Yeah.
of human psychology. In this context, it's definitely not.
Okay. But if that's the thing that's propping up your belief, why do you believe that it's not possible for you to have a
Because
full?
I remember everything. I remember all of it. You
Hmm,
know, it's hard to explain. I don't know. It's there's so many memories that have to. Yeah, you need to read a book that
yeah.
I wrote or something. You know, I don't know what to say. It's too short of
Okay.
a span.
If,
But
one of the things that we look for in kind of belief formation is like falsification criteria. So if your belief was false, how would you know? Or how could you test to verify it?
it's a good one. It's a good one. I mean, if I didn't have that, like the memory of like the story I just told you, stuff like that,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing is the kind of thing that's very impactful. And yeah, uh, yeah, it's hard to explain. It's hard to answer that. You got good questions and they're challenging, and I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I don't want you to think
So
that
yeah,
I'm not enjoying it.
if the fact was that you were not an indigo, would you want to know?
Sure, yes, and I've actually been trying to find a parapsychologist to help me out with that.
Ah, interesting. How
Yeah.
I was about my next question would be, how would you go about figuring that out?
Oops.
And you mentioned parapsychologists.
What happened? Do you see me still?
I do. Yes.
I don't see you anymore. Oh, there you
Okay.
are. My battery's about to go. I can't. I've been charging it the whole
Oh
time.
no.
Yeah, I that sucks. All right, let's do what we can, and
Yeah, let's do what we can. If we run
we
out,
can,
we can maybe
and we
schedule
can,
time for another
and we
time.
can, and we can do this via email too. I think I'm
Well,
totally.
this is hard to it's pretty interactive, and so it's kind of hard to do in
I
text.
understand.
And
I
I,
get it.
I enjoy it less. The other thing we could possibly do is we could connect when I'm in Seattle sometime, and I could just bring my audio recorder. We could just meet in
Okay.
the Starbucks or something like that,
Okay. Okay.
or at the park. But let's continue here. So we're talking about like if this were not true, how would you find out? How would you figure that out?
I wouldn't know. I would shit. I wouldn't have. I would know. It's it'd be. I don't know.
Yeah,
It'd be. I'd be. You're not going to convince me of it. I can tell you that. I mean, I don't. You
right.
know, it's like it
Well,
feels real. You'd be convincing me my life is not real,
yeah. Well,
basically.
if I mean, it's not about your life being not real, but it be saying, is there a different interpretation to your experience?
Oh, yeah. Don't think for a second that that hasn't driven me crazy my entire life.
Okay.
Trust me that this has been rough on me. Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very rough on me. And when I was younger, I was
Yeah.
thinking the same things that you're thinking and saying.
Sure.
And, and mind you, so many things had come across to me in a form of energy. And I would
Yeah.
disobey them because it would always be contrary to the context of what was going on. And it would be giving me bad advice. And I'd be like, I can't do
Okay.
that. I don't trust it. Right. And then sometimes I would get this and I'd be like, okay, I know it's bad. So let's see how bad. So I'm curious how
Yeah.
bad. So many times my ass got handed to me. It's unreal. And I started learning not to disobey that. The
Mm.
the thing is that it's always been 100% accurate, 100% every time, whether it be through the
Okay.
downloads from
Yeah.
meditation or the energies or whatever, but it's never been wrong, is all I can say.
Okay.
I don't know what to say.
Hmm.
Like, I can tell you this. I sat
Yeah.
down across from my ex-wife once and told her someone was attacking my horse, and she
Okay.
rolled her eyes in disbelief. We went home. They were still at the house. They peeled out of my driveway. There were massive footsteps leading to the backyard, and he'd been stabbed in his eye.
Wow.
So these are I've done these. I've been able to. No one believes me through meditation. I
Hmm.
asked for first contact. And now I
Yeah.
had a year and a half relationship with a certain species of aliens, and I've got it recorded on this computer right here. I'd be happy to
Hmm.
show you next time. Because I'm telling you, I'm full of experiences.
Yeah. Wow. If if you could be convinced that your experiences were from a different cause, would that reduce your confidence in your belief that you're an indigo? It's a hypothetical, right? I'm not
I
saying
don't
we
know.
could convince
Probably
you.
not.
If you told me you couldn't be convinced, but if we could reduce your confidence, say in the memories,
Uh,
right? Would that reduce your confidence in your belief that you're an indigo?
this sounds like a yes. Definitely hypothetical. It's certainly not a track I was expecting.
Yeah,
But probably not. I mean, I could expect to be wrong at least once or twice,
yeah.
right?
You mean,
But
sorry,
so
so
far, I
you mean
haven't never been wrong once.
it probably wouldn't reduce your confidence?
How do you damper the memories that I have? I mean, how do you
Well,
do
I
that?
wouldn't say you damper the memories, but if we could hypothetically convince, if you could be convinced through some evidence that the memories were not accurate, like would that reduce your confidence? And to be just completely transparent, what I'm trying to test here is is that reason like the a real reason that you believed? For example, some people will believe something just because they believe it, and then they look at a bunch of things and they exercise confirmation bias. And a lot of those things, like you could take away one of those reasons and they wouldn't change their confidence in the belief because that wasn't really the reason that was propping that up,
Oh, I see.
right? So I'm just probing to see like what is that the real reason? And so if we were able to remove
It's a
that reason,
collection of
would your
reasons.
confidence come down, right?
It's like it's a no, when no, and you're not going to get first off. Your first hypothetical wouldn't
Yeah,
happen. It couldn't happen. So therefore, this answer to the hypothetical has to be
right.
no,
Well,
because I,
but if it did happen, that's the thing.
again,
If it did happen, would that shake your confidence?
hmm,
Or
weird.
would you jump to another reason at that point?
I see a point. I'm not that type of person. No, I'm open minded. I'm
Yeah,
open minded. I'm not the type where you like because I adopted a faith, right?
yeah,
I read the
right.
Bible, the King James
Yep,
Bible, and said, "That's right, I got it. I'm faithful." And now
yeah,
you can never tell me anything different. But the thing about it is, like that book is a book, not personal experiences.
sure.
For me, it's personal experiences, and it's like
So
you can't change that.
yeah,
You just can't change it. Nothing you can do. It's rock hard.
how would you be able to tell the difference between an indigo and a human with extraordinary abilities?
Might not be able to.
Okay,
And not every indigo knows that they are one.
okay.
For me, it took years of meditation, years of experiences in
Mhm.
reading several things, and I didn't invent the term indigo. So it's not my
Yeah,
wording, it's not my language. But there are some things that I have had to create words for
yeah,
because the universe doesn't communicate via the English language, it uses
sure.
energy. And it's
Yeah,
actually more clear and more specific and more understandable than English itself. You
yeah.
cannot mistake what's being told.
Yeah. So, given these two hypothetical people, so an indigo and a human with extraordinary abilities, how could you test to definitively know which a person was?
I would just start asking questions, I guess. Probably I'd start asking about meditative practices.
Uh-huh.
I'd be asking about energies.
Okay.
You know, hard to tell. There are some things that people won't know about meditation unless you're an experiencer yourself. So I don't have to
Yeah.
say everything to everybody because that way I don't
Yeah.
create a fraud. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So
Yeah.
I always pull some information in and keep it
Yeah.
just so that no one could become a fraud.
Is there anything that's more reliable than asking someone questions and getting their
Answer
subjective
more. I
responses?
mean, the energy themselves,
Hmm.
I will feel, and
Okay.
And that's the one thing, like I can be totally repulsed by a lot of people's energy, and sometimes it just makes me want to get the hell out.
Yeah.
And then there'll be people's energy that I'm really attracted to.
Hmm.
So it will be an attractive energy, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So is there a way of detecting this energy other than you feeling it? Like why do you believe that energy exists and how could
That's
we
always been
verify?
accurate too. It's always
Yeah.
been accurate also. And one thing, another story about my ex-wife, I
Mhm.
once told her about the energies, and I was telling her that the Earth's energy had shifted, and
Mhm.
that I was, because there was a morning energy I used to feel every single morning. It felt so inspiring. It was so
Mhm.
good. And then it shifted and it stopped happening. And
Yeah.
then when I told her this, like 3 days later, she found a story online. It was like she found a news clip and she showed it to me, and it was some journalist saying scientists said that the Earth's pulse has changed.
Hmm.
And that's what they said, but it's in line with what I was saying. Because
Okay.
the truth is, we're as we're doing more damage to the Earth, the
Mhm.
energy is showing it. It's I don't feel the positive energy I used to, excuse me, that I used to
Mhm.
feel. It's gone now. It's getting
Okay.
angry. It's getting harsher.
Hmm. Okay.
Don't know what to say.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's difficult for me to get around here is you're claiming that everything that you've done has always been right.
I
And
know.
so, and
I know.
one thing I would want to ask is, are
No,
there
no, no,
many
no. Let me
times that
rephrase.
are there
Let me
times that you've
hold on.
discounted?
Let me change what you said. I want to make it more
Sure.
accurate.
Yeah, no, please. I don't want to put words in your
Okay,
mouth.
my intuition has always been right.
Okay.
Okay, so I've disobeyed it many times, and I got my ass beat each and every single time.
Okay.
And then, oh, it wants me to plug in right now. I don't have a plug in. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Do you?
Give me a
Cool.
second. I do. I didn't see it.
That will save us.
Okay, here we go. Oh, yay, found it.
Good.
Plugged in. Yay.
Awesome.
All right.
Um, where were we?
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about the always right.
Okay.
How,
All right.
how do
The
you how
intuition.
do you know you're always how do you know your intuition is always right? Can you
Because
define always?
because when I get myself into a situation or when
Mm.
there's something going on, it gives me warnings, or
Okay.
it's neutral. All right.
Yeah.
It doesn't talk to me every single day,
Sure.
but uh, uh, but like for instance, I'll do these meditative energy walks where
Mhm.
I'll go out in the middle of downtown and I'll
Yeah.
just only walk where the energy guides me.
Mhm.
Right. And so one time I did that and I found a Buddhist protest.
Okay.
Another time I did it, I found a group of people playing drums from like 20 different nationalities.
Mhm.
I came here to Seattle. I did it. One of the places it took me was to the Spheres. You know, little Spheres here in Seattle.
Yeah. Yep.
I found it via energy. Just
Yeah.
guide, just the what, just looking for the energy, just going with the energy. You'd be amazed with where it takes me.
Yeah.
The it's
Is
has
is it
always
is it possible to go for a walk just randomly through Seattle, not following energy, and still find your way to those things?
probably, but that was brand new. No, no, I was brand new to Seattle, and no,
Sure.
if I were to if I have to do something and I go on the phone and like the phone says go here to go to do that, I got an agenda. I go
Yeah.
and do that, and I ignore the energy.
Mhm.
But there are times where I'm like drawn,
Yeah.
and there's always a reason. There's always
Do
something.
do you think if you went for a walk in Seattle and ignored the energies, do you think it would be possible that you'd run into something cool?
And
Like
always
the
is that
spheres?
possibility. Certainly it's
Sure.
possible.
So why is being led to something cool a reason to believe that you're following an energy that other people don't have access to?
Oh, I'm not going to say they don't have access to it. I no, no, I'm not
Okay.
saying. I'm not saying.
Well, that they're following an energy, that you're following an energy. What let's say two separate days, one where you walk following the energy and one where you just walk, following something else. Why would it be more likely in the one case than the other?
Well, I haven't done the other one before, so
Yeah,
I would know. I never really decided to assign myself to
sure.
energy good here. Let's go that way. I never
Yeah,
thought
that's
to do
right.
that. Didn't cross my.
So yeah, so if you always walk fo following the energy, every time you find something cool, it was because you were following energy, but you're always following energy. How do you know that it was the energy that led you there?
Because it's never the same. First off,
Hmm.
it's never quite the same. Like the person's energy, they have their own personal signature attached to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I'm not trying to say that I'm the only one. I am saying every person is
Uh-huh.
influenced by this energy, but they
Okay.
just don't know it yet.
I see.
They don't have a conscious awareness of it. And
Yeah.
yet if we were raise people differently, we could raise everyone to be fully aware of it. It's this
Right.
paradigm that does
Okay.
that to us. It's how we're
So
raised.
so if I also have the energy and I can maybe I find something cool, maybe I go walking in downtown Seattle and I find the spheres.
Yeah.
Is it possible that I was following the energy?
Well, you would have to have conscious awareness of it.
Would,
That's the
would
thing.
why would I need conscious awareness rather than just unconsciously following the energy?
Well, I mean, hey, it's entirely possible, but what I'm saying is it's unlikely.
Mm,
Uh, that every time I do it. It's conscious. It's a conscious choice. It's a
yeah,
conscious decision. I feel it. I know which way to go.
right.
Uh, the uh, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I
Sure.
mean,
But
there's
what
also
I mean, what I'm
collective energies too.
yeah.
So
So what I'm getting to is if a human can follow this energy and get to someplace cool or numinous, maybe is a word, and then an indigo can go follow this energy and get to someplace
uh,
cool. Why is following that energy a good reason to believe that one is an indigo?
well, that's not a well. I don't know how to explain that. The
Yeah.
uh, the one thing about the indigo is that we know we come from somewhere else. We
Hmm.
know it.
Okay.
That we're not an actual human.
Yeah.
That the the I don't know what to say, but Earth,
Yeah.
the story of Earth is very complicated, and it's not as the Bible says. And the
Hmm.
Bible has its parallels, and spirituality in the Bible has its parallels. And it's got
Yeah.
that for a reason.
Hmm.
But the story of creation and Earth and everything else is far more complicated. Obviously, we did not make God did not formulate a mud statue and then blow on it, and then there was a person, right? That's not the story at all. That would we got to be more realistic, right?
Yeah.
The thing about it is that these energies, the are only humans
Yeah.
are blind to these energies.
Yeah.
Animals are very sensitive to this. Okay,
But
and
I mean, I think you mentioned that humans could learn
yes, of
to
course,
perceive the
absolutely, absolutely, of course.
um
Okay, hold on. Let me add to that.
yeah.
The CIA pulled people off the streets that had zero psychic capabilities and turned
Hmm.
them into remote viewers within hours.
Hmm.
All right, so that says a lot to me about what a human can learn to do. Yeah,
Hmm.
yes, the answer is definitely yes.
Okay.
This physical quantum mechanic scenario exists. It's there, and
Yeah.
all humans are tapped into it. They just don't know it.
Okay. So it's sounding again to me like everything boils down to your experience and your memory. And the reason I say this is you're saying that humans can learn. to feel these energies and do other things that indigos can do. So is the fact that you have memory, you perceive this, you have this experience of memory going back before your birth. Is that really the primary thing that causes you to believe that you're an indigo?
No, it's just one of many. Just one of many. No, for a long time, I thought everyone remembered their birth. I thought
Mm.
everybody did. I had
Hmm.
to learn that people didn't.
Yeah.
And, that to me was a normal thing. You
Hmm.
know, I don't know what to say. Lots of these things I thought were normal. When it came to the energies growing up as a kid,
Yeah.
I got some incredible stories as to how they confused the crap out of me and how how interesting it is. But like, for instance, I was raised for 11 years with abusive adoptive parents, and I
Mm.
had to live in their house. And the adoptive father hated my guts. He only accepted me because his wife wanted a son. She wasn't confident that she would give birth to more than one. Like, she got her own daughter, but she
Yeah.
wanted both, and she thought she was going to keep having daughters, whatever the story is.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm in a house and he didn't want me there. So the energy I had to deal with just in the
Wow.
house alone was really incredible. And it was rough, really rough.
That sounds rough. I mean, that's I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It sounds like it was really a tough way to grow up.
Yeah, and there's like one of the times I'm just barely been in there for a week, maybe
Mm.
5 years old.
Yeah.
And I wake up one morning
Mm.
and I feel all this love in the house.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I wake up and it's like it was tangible in the room. I just feel nothing but love. Now this
Mm.
love was not for me.
Yeah.
Right? This
Okay.
love was the love that these two brothers had. So what happened was overnight, while I was in bed,
Yeah.
his brother came to see the new family member, right? Me. So,
Okay.
but he came there, and mind you, these two brothers really love each other.
Mm.
They very tight. So that was the love I felt. You
Yeah.
know, that was I never felt that in the house ever again until he came back again, and periodically, like once a year. You know,
Yeah.
then there was the love, or let's say not so much love that he had for his own mother.
Yeah.
That was harsh. The fluctuation and the changes of the energies and all the things I've had to deal with as a kid, it's really been rough. Or how about a
Yeah.
teacher who can be nice to me with her face, but her energy hates me. I
Hmm.
feel it. I know it.
Yeah.
And I deal with that with coworkers too. People who will put a smile on their face. I know immediately if he hates my guts.
Yeah.
And most of the time, they're intimidated because they're very insecure people, and there happen to be a lot of insecure humans.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they
That's
come
that's
across them
that's
pretty common.
I believe that. Cool. Hey, we're getting close to the time that I need to get to another meeting. Um, Before we wrap up, I want to know if you have like questions or if you have any reflections about this conversation and how it's gone.
It's interesting. I'm wondering if you're Republican. I'm wondering what the angle is on this.
Really? You're
Yeah.
wondering if I'm Republican. I'm
Well,
I'm
that's a
not.
joke.
I'm
That's a
I'm
joke.
not. That's a joke. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a
Cool.
joke. I'm really just ragging on you because it feels like
Yeah.
you're it's like if you go to the government and you say, I saw a UFO, and then they turn around and say, you saw swamp gas. You know what I mean? And then you go, I know what I saw. I
Yeah.
know I didn't see the swamp. I know I saw a craft. That was not swamp gas.
Yeah. So the process I would go there is if you said you saw an UFO, I would say, how do you know you saw a UFO? And then we'd examine the reasoning behind it, right?
Uh-huh.
Without judgment. Um, but really it's about examining the reasons that you use to determine what's true. Um, and so you have something that a lot of people have like with God beliefs, which is you have a personal experience, and your personal experience, of course, is completely valid. And I know that you experienced that experience, but I don't have access to that experience. So all I can do is ask you questions about, well, how do you know that's true? And is
Okay.
that a good reason to believe
Don't
it's true?
don't think for a second that I didn't fight even harder with myself over it. But
Yeah.
let me tell you one
Well,
thing about the energies and people before we wrap up. There's one more important thing you
sure.
got to know
You bet.
is that these people and all humans, they may not be aware of the energies, but these energies can manipulate you and
Hmm.
make you like collective energy. And a
Yeah.
collective energy can change you.
Hmm.
And people aren't aware of this. So like when you go to a concert, you might behave differently. You go to a bar, you may behave differently,
Yeah.
or you go to a fight, you might behave differently.
Hmm.
Uh, and most people, they're just going with the flow, and they don't really understand that
Yeah.
that they can be manipulated. Like for me, though, I get
Hmm.
controlled by the energy too, except that I'm aware of it. It's
Yeah.
what's interesting is I'll go into a room and I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay focused. I'm not going to get influenced. I'll walk in there and I, for a minute, I'm remembering, and then somehow I forget and I get controlled by the energy. It
Hmm.
happens to me all the time, even though I
Yeah.
know about it. So it's like that's the one thing. So if we can change the shift, if we can shift the energies, the harsh energies,
Hmm.
then we can possibly create a different world, the a better one. That
Yeah.
we're being controlled by very harsh energies that have designed humans to become harsh generators themselves. This
Hmm.
has been done by design. It's on purpose.
Yeah.
So they know very well everything about
Yeah.
everything I just mentioned, and they
Yeah.
manipulate us with it. So let me
I,
get you to watch one thing. Look, watch Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. It's a documentary that
okay.
science experiments that will talk. You got to really pay attention to this. There's a lot of
Yeah.
information. Watch it, and then maybe we should talk again.
Sure. I wanted to go back to one thing you said earlier. You were starting to talk about how you could actually test to determine, you know, scientifically the fact that you're in indigo. So you mentioned finding a parapsychologist.
Yeah, I'd like to find. I've been looking for one. That most of the time they're full.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of them. Regular
Mm.
psychology rejects parapsychology.
Hmm.
So I can't see a regular psychologist. I
Yeah.
can't go and tell them the things I just told you. They look at me and roll their eyes and say, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Right. So a parapsychologist understands everything I just talked about.
Hmm. Okay. All right.
So yeah, if we were to see a parapsychologist, they could hypnotize us,
Mm.
you or me or both, and
Yeah.
we can come up with they'll dig up memories from past lives and in
Okay.
between. You have it all in your head. You can get it all. You got access to all of it.
So why do you think that hypnotherapy and hypnotherapy, like past life regression is a good reason to believe something?
Hmm. That is a tough question, I must say. The I mean, again, back to experiences. I mean, when you are under hypnosis and you're
Yeah.
dealing with repressed memories,
Hmm.
you will relive them as if they are happening in present time.
Yeah. Is it possible under hypnotherapy for things that you remember not to be true?
You're not going to have experiences that didn't happen. You're not going to. Your brain
How,
is not a creator of false context.
and how do you know that?
Through experience, it's definitely not the case. The details are to be too vivid.
Hmm. Okay. Is it possible to have a dream with vivid details that aren't true?
Oh, certainly. Dreams are dreams. They're different things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not the same.
If you can have dreams with details that aren't true, why is it possible in hypnosis? Why is it impossible in
That's
hypnosis?
not a dream. That's not a dream.
Are they both things that the brain does?
Certainly, but they're not. It's not the dream. It's not. They're not. It's not the same thing.
Uh-huh. Okay. And how do you know that a hypnotic regression or a hypnotic memory is always accurate?
Well, I don't. I haven't done any. I don't have any personal experience. I can
Okay.
only go by what I've read. So that means I don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
So all I've read is it's possible. So I'm looking for it just to see for myself
Yeah.
if it's true or not. Be
Okay.
honest with
Yeah.
you, perfectly honest.
Okay. So
So
the confidence in the hypnotic method is medium, maybe.
sure, medium, curious. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yes.
How would you find out how accurate hypnotherapy is?
I wouldn't know. I'd have to try it at least. At first, I have to try, and then I'd start asking the same questions you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think there's a way to test it? Like, how would we test it to find
Well, I
out?
wouldn't know. I'd have to. Well, first step would be to try it first, and maybe through the process of trying, I might learn how to test it.
Yeah.
But I can say that I've read about other cases, and I'm just going to say that I mean, just because I've read it doesn't mean it's true. So,
Yeah.
but I've so far every time I investigate, I'm actually blown away
Hmm.
by like for instance, I watched David Blaine on television. So you know
Hmm.
who David Blaine is?
Yeah.
Okay, so right, I'm going, well, he could have just we're watching a film, he could have edited, right? Okay, no big deal. So my ex-wife, who I was married to at the time, she was a
Yeah.
caterer, and she has really big connections on shows and talent and all kinds of things. So I
Hmm.
told her, I said, look, find me a real magic show, not
Yeah.
sleight of hand, pull a rabbit out of a hat show, real magic. And she
Yeah.
did find me a real magic show, and it was incredible. And
Yeah.
as I sat there through this show, I learned more about the laws of physics. And this
Hmm.
ain't sleight of hand. Okay, this dude made cards disappear. He didn't do sleight of hand. He went like this, and cards disappeared, gone.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
He made a cell phone disappear that way. And then when he called the phone, it was in one of the cushions of when someone was sitting in. He had
Yeah.
to pull out a razor blade, cut it open, pull the phone out. All right.
Amazing.
Yeah, he swallowed these pins with colors on them. The first three colors, then there was 50 white ones, needles, right? Swallowed
Yeah.
all of them, right? And then he says, which color do you want to see first? We're all voting on red or green. And he goes, okay, the green one. So he puts his head up like this. The green one comes out first,
Yeah.
then the red one, then the next one, and then 50 white ones. And he goes, he's spitting them. As he spits them in the cushion, they're coming out looking perfectly, like as if I meticulously placed them.
I'll tell you what, if the next time we talk, if we do this again, I would love to investigate your belief in magic. Magic is real, I think would be a great claim to investigate. But for
Okay.
today, it's 3 o'clock. Let's
Good.
wrap this up. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for telling me about being an indigo. This is absolutely fascinating. I've really enjoyed this. I am also interested in knowing, maybe not now, maybe later, what conclusions you've come to about me, because you told me at the beginning that you
Oh no,
about people.
it's going to be longer before I do that. I need to know more about your motives and these questions.
Yeah.
That's the truth is. So I would need to know you more. I don't have enough information to say anything.
Sounds good. Well, I'll tell you what, I think I've sent you a link to the podcast. So I would encourage you to go listen to a few more of these conversations, and you'll
Okay.
start to get like probably a sense of that. Or we can have another conversation later where I tell you more about this practice and kind of where it comes from and why it's important to me.
Okay.
That
No,
sounds
how about
interesting.
I got an idea. Let's meet in the middle with this.
Okay.
I'm going to study your podcast.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk again. But I need you to watch Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and I want you taking notes and paying attention
Yep.
to every single thing. Now,
Okay.
should you decide you want more time, then you can also watch Inner Worlds, Outer Worlds. That one's a
Okay.
6-hour documentary. They
Wow.
got so many scientific experiments. You got to
Yeah.
really pay attention to this stuff. The
Yeah.
Because well, first off, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, that documentary came out after I was already doing that.
Okay.
Okay, well, you're going to learn about what I've done, and it wasn't from the documentary because when I saw his documentary,
Yeah.
I was like, I already know this stuff.
Okay.
And mind you, I also have a video. So if we talk again, I'll show you a video that nobody has as
Hmm.
far as UFO goes. This is the most
Okay.
incredible video you can even imagine.
Sure. I'll tell you what, I will try to make time to go watch Close Encounters of the Fifth Time. Again, this is not about me being convinced or not being convinced. This is just about
No, no,
exploring the
no,
reason
no, no,
we use
no,
to,
no.
to justify
You're,
things. So,
you're doing your job and I'm doing mine. Got it?
sounds
Okay.
great. I got
All
it.
right. All right.
All right. Thank you, sir. Jeremiah, this has been an absolute pleasure. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to
Ditto.
you again.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Enjoy. Nice
Yeah,
meeting
you
you.
too. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Conversations on the Coast, a series from Washington State featuring civil conversations using street epistemology to explore what people believe and why. Find out more at streetepistemology.com.